Perspective. Perspective. How do you shift your perspective? And why is it important to have a shift of perspective sometimes? Because I feel if you were to notice what's going on in society, one of the things that's happening quite a lot is that people are very convinced of their perspective. And when you are convinced that you are always right, that means that your heart is closed, your mind is closed, your eyes are closed, because you're not open. You're not willing to examine that, like, hey, what else is out there? And I think the thing about perspective that's really important, at least for me personally, when I'm feeling my most depressed, which is like kind of a lot, yeah, when I'm feeling really sad and internally depressed and just depleted, and really what it is a hopelessness, a certain hopelessness, and I can't kind of shake, and I wake up with this malaise of what's the fucking point? And I can't seem to allow myself to enjoy or appreciate life at all because I'm just bogged down by this feeling of meaninglessness. But really, when I can shift that perspective and say, wait a minute, I don't have to be seeking meaning in life all the time. Like, ooh, I'm like the crocodile hunter. Like, where's my meaning? What do I have to do to find my meaning? I don't have to find meaning. I am meaning. You are meaning. We have meaning to our lives because we are alive. I mean, think about how wild it is. All the people that had to fuck in order for you to be in existence. Yeah, like, tens and thousands of years ago, two random people like got together and banged it out, and they are your ancestor. Think about how many trillions, bajillions, like gazillions of sperms, like random little spermies had to like hit the right ovum in order for you to be here right now. So we don't have to question the meaning of our lives. Just by being here, our lives have meaning because we are meaning, right? So when I can shift my perspective and see that, then I'm like, oh, okay, I can get out of bed today, yeah? And also when I was talking about beforehand, right? In arguments with others, in relation to others, having an open mind and heart to be kind of like polyamorous with your perspective. Yeah, I think that's what we have to do. We have to be a little bit more poly when it comes to our perspectives. That can be so healing because you have a story about why you're right in a relationship, and guess what? So does that other person. They have their story about why they're right. And usually in my case, I am right, but at the same time, there's a lot I can learn by putting my mind into a space where I'm trying to better understand their mind, putting my heart in a space where I am trying to better understand their heart. And when I'm not so focused on my mind and my heart, I am much more compassionate to the perspective of others. I'm much more, groovy when it comes to connection because I'm not so concerned about my story, my narrative, my interest in being correct. Even though I usually am, but no, I'm not, but I am. All right, obviously I have some work to do, which is why we're gonna do this work together. But I think the point is why is it important for us to practice perspective shift? The reason why it's important to practice perspective shift is because our society actually depends on it. How's it going for us right now with all this I'm right and you're wrong and you're stupid attitude? I don't think it's going that well. I really don't. I really think that it's like not going that well at all. And that we have to kind of figure out perhaps a new way to be more and recognize that the different perspectives we have is what makes humanity beautiful. That's what imagination is. That's what diversity is. It's not just us all thinking the same as like Automan drones. Like, no. That's why we're not robots, because we have this like infinite potential to think differently because we all have such different life experiences and they're all of value. I mean, we can't just say that people have no value in their perspective, even though some people really do have some problematic perspectives. But again, what is it coming from? It's coming from their own programming, their own fear, their own feelings of scarcity, of being lied to. I mean, I think there's a lot of ways in which we can uncover that we're all coming from a place of being programmed and brainwashed by the people that raised us, the society that came before us. And in order for us to unwash our brains, dirty them up a bit, we have to collaborate, and we have to realize that, like, hey, we should be like spiders sharing a giant web of thoughts, information, and imagination, and then we can, like the mycelium, right? Like the trees, we are all connected in our minds and thoughts. It's a collective consciousness. It's not just your consciousness or my consciousness. So let's stop being so individualist about it and recognize that all thoughts are part of this giant collective webbing of consciousness that we must honor at its full capacity. And part of that is allowing yourself to every once in a while have a perspective shift. So let's try it. Let's try some somatic physical work in order to ignite that. The first thing we're gonna do is you're gonna take one hand and you're gonna look at that hand, all right? Really focus that hand. And you can kind of move around the space a little bit, but maintain your focus on that hand. And don't lose focus. You can move your hand, you can bring it up, you can bring it down, but just keep the focus on the hand, okay? Ugh, it's kind of making me ill. Now you're gonna take your other hand. Look at that hand. And now try to focus on that hand. Let the hand move you around. Let it bring you wherever it wants to go. But focus on the hand. Focus on the hand. Focus on the hand. Yeah? Okay. Now you're gonna bring both hands in front of your face. I'll go like this. Focus on both hands. It's very difficult, right? Do you see yourself oscillating between one or the other? Really try. Focus on both hands at the same time. Allow your eyes to, I keep going back and forth between one and the other. Are you able to truly focus on both hands at the same time? Maybe if you totally unfocus your eyes. Even still, I'm still looking at one hand than the other. Okay, what is this a metaphor of? It's really hard to see someone else's point of view if you're still holding on to yours tightly. You can't focus on both at the same time. You have to let go of your point of view momentarily in order to truly experience their point of view. So if you're still holding on tight to your point of view as you're trying to be open to theirs, you can't really focus on it. You really have to put yours aside for a moment. All right? Second exercise. You're gonna do an actual perspective change. You're gonna put your head between your legs. You're gonna do an actual perspective shift, and you're gonna take your hands and put them on the floor. I like to see you have an argument like this. I'd like to see you try, okay? You're bringing the weight on your hands, and you're just bringing your head below your heart and below your pelvis, and that's a perspective shift, a physical perspective shift. And if you wanna go really to the next level, lift your feet. Keep lifting your feet. Bringing all the way to the hands. That's gonna be a perspective shift for you. You can do this. I really think it'd be funny if you talk to someone you disagreed with like this. Because I think it'd be a lot easier in that context to have like an open heart, mind, and butthole.